Hello everyone and welcome to this video, which is in our Great Engine Games series and Crazy Leela series, continuing our mini-series on Leela tactics in Queen odds games. Another 12 games for you to guess at. Shouldn't be too difficult, but should be lots of fun. Let's have a look. So in this position, 2800 player actually playing the 1 minute challenge. Might have done better not to grab that knight on d6. Played rook takes d6. What did Leela do in this position? Yeah, the typical tactic, rook takes g8. And after knight takes g8, we've got h7. There's no way to stop the pawn either going on and queening or taking the knight and queening. It all seems to work. By the way, the best that black had was quite an amazing resource, actually. King d7, h7, and then rook g6. Okay, white can queen, and then rook takes g8. White's much better, clearly winning probably. The idea, though, is that if you just try and move the rook away to play h8 queen, then I go rook check and knight g6, and somehow keep a hold of that h8 square. But yeah, this was good enough. Yeah, another game against a 2800 player. So Leela's got a piece back, and the black king is in a whole lot of trouble with rook d8 coming in. But at the moment, since black's got an extra queen, rook d8 can just be met by queen d8, and the black is still winning. Need to find the right spot for the queen, and black didn't here. Black played the move queen c7. What did white play? Well, the good move here is rook takes c5, because if queen takes c5, then rook d8 check. Now, actually, there's a couple of things about this one. Black's best line would be to play queen d7 in this position, which is not too stupid. It's very nice for white after takes, and knight e5, simply because the black king and the black rook are in such a state. But black is still surviving. And then just to point out the best line would have been queen b5, with the amazing point that after rook takes c5, you play the move bishop d7, covering the d8 square. And if rook b5, bishop b5, black's winning the knight on c4. It's not completely over yet, even this position, because well, the king and the rook are in a bit of trouble, but yeah, that's actually rook takes c5, bishop d7 would have been the key defensive point. The best is actually for white to play check, take the queen, and then yeah, just keep on keeping the black pieces under wraps. Very hard for black to get free here. Another one of Leela's king chases up the board with minimal material. Black actually has quite a number of ways of dealing with this. Pardon me. Rook g8 is perhaps the best way to do, just giving the possibility more often than not of interposing a rook somewhere. Black played e takes f6, however. Pardon me. How did Leela finish the task? Well, Leela played the very nice mate, rook h4 check, king f3 only move, and then rook f5. And as that rather lovely set of lines shows, yeah, everything combining just beautifully to mate the black king. Lovely coordination. 2700 player here, getting very close to beating Leela. King's had a bit of a run, but seems to be safe-ish. Black played the move rook h3, looking to play the move rook h2 and pester the king. But what had black missed? Yeah, amazingly enough, rook a1 is checkmate there. Checkmate out of nowhere. Black's best instead of rook h3 would be to play rook c3, just to block the bishop, and then black would have been winning. But so near, yet so far. Rather tragic, another tragic game somehow for a rather unfortunate 33,000 plus player. Ending is drawn, basically. The pawn is too advanced and the rook is too passive, basically. You can keep on checking the king, stopping the pawns from advancing. But black decided to try and make the most of the advanced position of his king, played b4. What did Leela play here? Well, it just goes to show that you can lose pretty much any position if you're short of time, because rook a1 check was checkmate there. Oof, nasty. So Leela was all out fighting here, opening the h-file, but the a-pawn on the other side was going through. But of course, there's a very dangerous thing in this position, the bishop pointing towards the king. And knight takes d6 is bound to win material. So black played knight f7, hoping actually just to give up material, give everything back, and then black's, still much, much better there. But Leela found a lovely, very typical way of winning material. How did Leela do it? The solution is well known, but somehow gets hidden amongst all the mess of the position. It's bishop f7 first, rook f7, and then rook h8 check. King has to take the rook, and after knight f7, we're forking king and queen. And funnily enough, after takes, it emerges that white is actually a piece up, and white won without any trouble. Bishop d2, takes, and rook takes a2. This was quite a funny game. Leela's got quite a bit of material back, quite dangerous rook and two bishops. But okay, still some work to do. Leela did a sneaky little move, h4 here, taking control of the g5 square. And black was a little incautious. Something like bishop e3 maybe would have stopped bishop g5. But black played rook f2 here. How did white finish this off? The funny thing is, you're sort of looking for mate here, but it isn't mate. But it's just bishop g5 check takes, rook h7, and now bishop e6 check. And we're forking the king and the rook on c8. And that just means basically that white's going to be a piece up. In the game, black played king f3, and Leela was even more accurate. Played rook f7, king e4, rook takes f2. Not even allowing a rook takes b2 check, even though that isn't even dangerous. But this way, making sure that you remain with an extra piece and absolutely no danger at all. Rather unfortunate game for black here. Already had lost a rook on a8. And black decided to trap the knight and at least win some material back with queen d8. How did Leela finish off the game? With the rather nifty bishop c5 check, king e8, and bishop f7 check, which was rather painful for black. Time to start a new game, I think. Ooh, another typical scenario where, the king is being hunted, but it's not 100% clear whether you can get it. Have you got enough pieces? But of course, it's not easy with in a blitz game to actually defend. Key threat is rook g5 check. So black decided to defend against it with knight h5, just opening the line of the bishop to defend the square on g5 there. How did Leela react? Well, the problem with this one is that you do cover g5, but you weaken d5. And after rook check here and rook f5, there's a very unusual mate. Bishop on f7 covering everything, the bishop on e7 stopping its own king from retreating. Lovely mate there from Leela. Yeah, this one's a bit funny. Black's been under a bit of pressure, and knight takes c7 happens, hitting the queen and rook. And well, you want to get your queen safe, and I guess black didn't really pay attention here. Black played the move queen c6 to get out of the attack and kind of force the knight to take the rook on a8. However, what did Leela play? It's a very unusual mate. Bishop e6 check. The knight covers e8, protects e6. and the pawn on f6 covers e7 and g7, and the pawn on g6 and the bishop on f8 stop the king from moving anywhere. Very unusual maze, especially in an open board like that. Really amazing. Yeah, this is a sort of the disasters that happen when you're facing Leela. This was quite a long time control for black, 10+5, so plenty of time to think. But somehow, yeah, from a incredibly promising looking position. Okay, you've lost your queen, but you're still material up. Black found himself in a losing position. So after h5, Leela didn't want the rook on h7 to get active, so Leela just gave the g pawn away, played g5. And after rook takes g5, rook takes a7. We've got quite a big threat here, rook a8 check. The very best that black has got would probably be knight d5. It gives a square on e7 for the king, and also stops the bishop coming to f6. But black played the move f5, which looks reasonable, giving the king an escape square on f7 and then to g6. But there's a rather unfortunate thing. Actually, the engines consider now that the position is equal. Because after rook check king f7, you don't check on d6 with the knight, which I think is what black was expecting. You check on d8 with the knight. And after king g6, there's knight e6. And the knight is attacking the rook on g5 and threatening knight f8 check as well. So, yeah, obviously a little bit shocking for black, but he sort of reacted quite smartly. He played rook g2 check, king f3, and rook h2. With the idea that if you go knight f8 check, king h6 or king f7, knight there, then I go rook h3 and pick up the bishop on c3. Position still drawn apparently, but okay, only black can play for a win there. But Leela played the very sneaky move bishop e5, getting the bishop out of the area and hitting the rook on h2. And if rook h3, you'll go king g2 and you'll still be threatening knight f8 check. So this was the moment, though, to give your king some air, basically, I think you'd say. I'm moving around there. And the move like f4 would be very, very good. And if knight f8, we go king f5, counter hitting the bishop on e5. It's about equal. But black played rook h1 here. Leela played knight f8, and now really it was the moment for black to just say, okay, well, I'm going to lose my rook, but I'll have it'll be rook, knight, and bishop against rook, knight, and 2 pawns. Should be able to draw that, although it's not pleasant. But black played the move king h6. How did Leela play now? Well, amazingly, the black king finds itself in a mating net. Rook a6 check. King can't go back to g7. If you go knight g6, of course, rook g6 is checkmate. And bizarrely enough, after king g5, we go knight h7 check, king h4, bishop g3 check, king h3, and knight g5 is checkmate. Out of nowhere. Yeah, that's what I keep on saying. Leela's dangerous at any moment of the game. And then finally, for this video, last example, a really evil one actually. So in this position, after knight f5 check, black's only option in actual fact was to go back to f8 or f7. It looks totally suicidal to put the king opposite the rook, but tactically that was kind of working. After king to d8, white is going to be better, but the answer is not very easy to see why. I will just point out, though, that after knight takes g7, the queen is quite short of squares. It's only got g4 or h3, and black put it on g4. More difficult puzzle here. White to play and win. It's not dramatic or anything, but it's going to end up winning the queen. The solution is quite tricky, I have to say. White plays bishop g5 check, first of all. And if queen takes, then knight e6 is the fork. That's really good. So king c7 played. And now this is the really stellar move. It's the move bishop f5. And the queen has no squares at all. All that black has is queen takes g5. And after knight e6, king c6, knight g5. Then white's got a clear advantage. The engines consider that white's winning. Lots of weak pawns to attack. pieces undeveloped, and a knight f7 coming in as well. So I think that black resigned here in actual fact. Probably wasn't quite necessary, but this is very, very good for white indeed. So there we are, another video and loads more of these games to come. I hope you're enjoying them. Do give a like and subscribe to the channel if you do. Tell your friends, and otherwise hope to see you soon again. Thanks for watching.